No matter how anyone wants to look at it, black culture is underrepresented in popular media. This year's Black Panther is the first comic book movie starring a black character since Blade, a movie that came out 20 years ago.
Where the fuck is my Static Shock movie?
Now, that's not to say that black people aren't in popular movies. There are often blockbuster movies that have black characters just for the sake of diversifying their cast. Hell, last year's The Dark Tower changed the gunslinger to a black man, which ruins some of the story and context that the original books had. While I have issues with that in itself, that's not what I want to talk about, as Black Panther is more than just a superhero movie starring black people. It's a movie about culture, history, and progressiveness. Not everyone will see this movie in a positive light, I know. Some black people want Hollywood to stop forcing social views as if everyone agrees with them. But I say it's similar to the problems that old school rappers talked about in their music. Nobody knew how bad the ghetto really was until rappers from those areas made it a focus to explain how they were affected by them. Not everyone knows about some of the struggles and hardships of black communities, so it's important to have black messages given through digestible media. Black Panther doesn't explicitly state all of its themes. It is still a superhero movie after all, but it's more than enough of a step in the right direction. Familial ties plays a big part in Black Panther, and while some say the story beats become predictable because of it, there's no denying the significance and thematic importance that changes some of the cliches of the movie. Black families are very closely knit. We value family more than anything else, and there's this rule to keep the family close. What I mean by that is over anyone or anything else, family always has to come first, because they're the only thing you got. Friends come and go, but family lasts forever. Wakanda sees themselves as one big family. They're so tightly knit that they're not mindful of outsiders. They're only concerned about what happens to their country and only take action against anyone that threatens them. In Captain America's Civil War, the only reason that T'Challa fights is because he wants revenge on Bucky for killing his father, a crime he didn't commit. At no point in the movie is he concerned about the Sokovia Accords, all because of his isolationist mindset. Killmonger has seen the oppressions of black people on a global scale, and thinks if you look like me, then we have to help each other out. He wants Wakanda to help all black people, but because Wakanda almost sees everyone as beneath them, that's where Killmonger decides to reform their politics.
You know what's fucked up? African people don't like black people. Y'all know they treat us like shit. They talk down to us. They think they better than us. And I don't understand, because we from the same tribe, kind of.
It's not a bad notion to idealize, but his extremist actions are what set him apart from being a socially concerned individual and a fucking psychopath. T'Challa finds a resolution between the two sides, opting to open up all resources and technological advancements to the world. T'Challa is almost accepting the rest of the world as family because he doesn't want to see everyone as different races like Killmonger, but as a collective race, humanity. He wants to forget past mistakes and forge a new future. Just in time for Infinity War. In an interview with one of the main actresses, Lupita Nyong'o, she talks about the culture that Black Panther brings from Africa. The locations, geography, costume design, even the language they speak are all drawn from African culture and mixed with some Afrofuturism. For those who don't know, Afrofuturism is a concept in literature where science fiction is mixed with black culture, and Black Panther has it in spades. I see that term thrown around in a lot of reviews for the movie when a lot of people probably don't know what it means. The shots of Wakanda and their rustic yet completely outlandish city design speaks volumes to the movie's understanding of culture. So, what does any of this have to do with anime? Well, the anime industry is often criticized for its depiction of different races, especially black people. I have a hard time believing that any actual person looks like General Black from Dragon Ball. The man's lips take up half his face. It's sad when one of the best black anime characters is this fucking guy. That's why we have well-designed characters like Killick Rung from Soul Eater, a character who is specifically created because mangaka Atsushi Okubo thought there weren't enough black characters in manga. That's why I want to talk about a special show for Black History Month. 2008's Michiko and Hatchin. Michiko is one of the best black characters in anime. This show is an absolute gem, and is severely underrated when talking about cultural appropriation in anime. On that front, it rivals Samurai Champloo. Funny that they were made by the same studio, huh?
I will remember you.
Michiko and Hatchin finds an outlaw woman, Michiko Melandros, finding and taking care of a 10-year-old girl named Hana Morenos, who she nicknames Hatchin. They set off to find Hatchin's father and Michiko's former boyfriend, Hiroshi. Michiko promises to protect Hatchin on their journey, and through their time spent together, they form an unbreakable bond. Michiko and Hatchin doesn't comment on race at all, but there are some subtle hints at a deeper message. It's small things, like most of the people of power or authority are white men. Whether it's corrupted cops or just some doofy-ass actor, the seemingly richest people all have Eurocentric features. There's also a scene in episode 4 in which we see on a wall of a bar the message, "All power to the Wait. What? Peeper?
This show is fucking awesome!
Okay, yeah, it's supposed to be all power to the black people, but you get it. This is sort of out of place and a weird detail, but it's there, so I thought I'd point it out. Rather than there being any comments on race, Michiko and Hatchin has a very humanist perspective. Unlike the lessons T'Challa learns at the end of Black Panther, Michiko and Hatchin has a negatively driven outlook on humanism. Anybody from anywhere can be a total shitbag, and for the most part, they are. It's not hard to tell that either. The minister and his family who had adopted Hatchin brutally abuse her in the first episode. They leave a lasting effect on you, as this causes you to distrust literally everyone who you meet throughout the show. When you do meet some of the more down-to-earth characters, you see them from Hatchin's perspective only. This gives her character a little lighter tone as she sees that not everyone is a total fuckface. The most impactful encounter Hatchin has is with an opera singer who lets her stay at his house when she and Michiko get separated. This man bends over fucking backwards to help Hatchin by finding and rescuing Michiko from some gangsters. He negotiates with them for what seems like hours and then risks his life and almost falls off a fucking building, even though he has his own son at home. That's a dude, by the way. All because he wanted to be a hero for her. By the end of it all, we get a scene of Michiko and Hatchin's relationship comparable to a father and his son. People who are actually blood related. This is by far the most effective way of showing how close they've grown. While most of the characters we encounter with the girls seem to be untrustworthy, this only strengthens the trust they have in each other. For a lot of the series, they actually argue with each other, as Michiko is short-tempered and doesn't play well with others, and while Hatchin is more mild-mannered, surprising most people with how formal she is, she definitely doesn't take shit from anyone, especially Michiko. When Hatchin finds other people who she thinks she can trust, Michiko always shows out and proves that she'll always take care of her. In episode 11, the girls get in a fight because another woman, also named Michiko, had been taking care of Hatchin for a short time. When Michiko comes to take her back, Hatchin rejects Michiko's attempt to help, but Michiko doesn't give up after that. When it turns out the other Michiko is actually trafficking children, is that what she's doing? Michiko is right there to still save Hatchin. Even through all their squabbles, they rely on each other, because they're the only family each other's got. Even though they're not blood related, they've found that every problem they faced, they do it together. So, remember Yuri on Ice? That show everyone creamed their jeans over back in 2016? Well, the same director, Sayo Yamamoto, directed this show. And she worked on Death Note, Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, Lupin III, The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, Techno Lies, Arakawa Under the Bridge, Redline. I'm telling you, this chick is awesome. She also happened to work on Samurai Champloo. You know that show I mentioned earlier? Well, it's very apparent that she took a lot of inspiration from that show. Samurai Champloo's soundtrack is one of the most critically praised works of music in anime. Its use of lo-fi hip-hop beats mixed with an ancient Japanese Edo-style setting was such a fresh of breath air back in 2005. Michiko and Hatchin, while having music as good as Samurai Champloo, has elements of Black and South American culture that bleeds into its music and setting. While a lot of the soundtrack has lo-fi beats, there's often Spanish guitar and what may be Portuguese vocals thrown in. I'm not actually sure. The setting takes place in a fictional South American country, but the locations look anything but. The geography and architecture are a very good artist's rendition of what could actually look like places in South America. Even the characters' names have meaning behind them. Michiko is a fairly common Japanese name, meaning beautiful, and Melandros means a petty thief or outlaw. Hannah is a common American name, and Morenos means... Wait, what does it mean? Brown. It means brown. Well, if Hannah Brown doesn't sound like the whitest fucking name, I don't know what does. Black Panther and Michiko and Hatchin have a lot of the same themes strewn about them. They both have a humanist message, they draw from their respective cultures and implement them in such a way to complement their narratives. They both have themes of familial connections being important to the growth of their characters. While Michiko and Hatchin may be older and probably forgotten about, Black Panther is fresh and new, and hopefully can usher in a new wave of black movies in pop culture. Well, I hope you liked what I had to say. Tell me in the comments what you thought. Subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all the future videos I put out. Love and peace, everyone.